Hey guys, for this week's strategy segment, I wanted to go over something that I feel has been very helpful in my poker career, and I think will help you guys out a lot as well. And it's what I call the mental warm-up. The purpose of the mental warm-up is twofold. It's to warm you up for your session and to also review your previous session. I've been using this mental warm-up for about 2 years now. Um, and at every moment in my career where I felt like I was really getting better and improving and having solid win rates were at the exact same times that I was doing this regularly. So I attribute a lot of my success to doing this consistently, and I feel like if you guys do it as well, it'll improve your game significantly as well. This whole process usually takes about an hour and a half, but it's not mandatory that you do all of it before every session. You can add and subtract certain parts. Like a lot of times I will not do the posting if I don't have time, and sometimes I'll go over fewer hands. But usually these last 4 steps are something that you will always want to do before your sessions. So obviously this is a fairly time-consuming thing, and it's also pretty mentally tiring as well. Um, but I think it is extremely important, and this is why. Um, we all make mistakes when we play, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The important thing is that we learn from our mistakes and not continually make the same mistakes. If we don't review regularly, first of all, we won't really be able to spot our mistakes because you can't really spot a mistake until you look back at it. If you're trying to spot mistakes in real time, your judgment is going to be clouded, and you shouldn't be trying to spot mistakes while you're playing either, because you should be focused on the next hand, not the hand that not the previous hand. So it's important that we learn from our mistakes, and the best way to do that is doing review often and doing it in depth. So there is a little bit of an opportunity cost to spending this much time on review. You're probably going to feel like, oh man, I have to do this so often. If I do it every day, that's going to significantly cut into the amount of time that I can play, and therefore it's going to cut into the amount of time that I'm earning. And that is a valid argument in the short term. Let's say your hourly rate playing is $50 an hour, and you do this, say, 5 times a week for an hour and a half. So that adds up to 7.5 hours. You're costing yourself there about, I think it's about $375 in EV by doing this regularly. However, by doing this regularly, you should be increasing your hourly rate significantly, so that your hourly rate might go up to $60 an hour after doing this for 2 weeks, and after a very short amount of time, it will pay for itself. Not only that, but in my experience, it's actually sort of fun to do this because you really feel like you're working on the game. And there's nothing better than the feeling of progression and getting better. Okay, so there are 6 steps to the mental warm-up, and the first step is to make 5 thought-out strategy posts in your respective forum. It's very important that when we respond to the thread, that we focus only on the original post initially. The reason for this is that if we read through all the other responses, our response will tend to be clouded by what other people have said, and we won't really give an honest and accurate opinion of what we really believe. So spend 2 or 3 minutes, working in some sort of calculator, combinator, or poker stove, or whatever you're comfortable using, and doing maybe some calculations, and really think about your response, and then post your response. After you've done that, look through what other people have posted, Do other people agree with you? If they're reputable people, reputable posters who are successful in the game, and they disagree with you, um, perhaps you're doing something wrong. Question their reasoning, or perhaps question your own. The importance of posting is that it exposes your mind to new ideas. Perhaps some of the other posters um, will open your mind to a new idea that you had not thought of. And it also is a good way of networking and getting to know other players, and another step of warming up your poker brain. So the next step in the mental warm-up is to go over 10 key hands from your previous session extensively. Give me your previous 3 or 4 sessions, whatever you've played in the last couple of days. Below this video, you will see another video on how I do hand history review and how I feel it should be done. In that video, I take about 30 minutes to break down a hand. I think that is going to be a little bit much. I think you should probably be spending between 5 and 10 minutes on breaking down your hands. So when you do this, you will undoubtedly find mistakes. If you're not finding mistakes, you're not looking hard enough, and you're not being truly honest with yourself. There's always a little something that we can do better. So when you find a mistake, think, and when I'm talking about mistakes, I'm saying a strategy mistake. When you make a strategy mistake, really try to look for the root cause of it. Ask yourself, okay, I bet the river here when I clearly knew that my opponent had a strong hand or had a strong range. Why did I do this? And then kind of continue to ask yourself, okay, why did I do that? Why did I do that? And when you find that root cause, you'll add it to this next thing I call the list of things to work on. So you're going through your session, you're going through your 10 hands, you've found a list of mistakes, you've added them to your list of things to work on, and now the next step is once you're completely done with your review for the day, we go to step 3, which is to go over the list of things to work on. We don't just want to add things to the list of things to work on, we also want to review all of them and mentally go through them. When I do this, I go through it out loud and actually say them myself. The reason for that, I find, is that by stating it out loud, it kind of affirms it in your mind even stronger. So what I do is I'll go over the mistake, okay, using the wrong goals. For me, that mistake is usually that I will sometimes lose focus on playing as well as I can, instead focus on like getting even. So I've lost focus on the most important thing, which is just to play as well as you can. So whenever I feel like I want to get even, I'm just going to instead think, okay, well, I know that's not the correct goal. I'm going to focus on always keeping the correct goal in mind, just to play as well as I possibly can. And every time I go over something, I'm going to add a number to it to the right. So I've gone over this one 7 times, and now I've gone over it 8. So you're going to do that with every single one of the things on your list of things to work on. Once you've got to about 20 or 25, or you feel like you've really learned your lesson with this thing, you've gone over it enough times and really thought about it and aren't making the mistake commonly anymore, then you can go ahead and delete that thing from your list of things to work on. It's important that your list of things to work on never becomes so big that you don't feel like doing it because it's so time consuming. It should generally have about 10 to 15, perhaps 20 things that you're working on at any given time. And always look to consolidate. You might have one mistake listed in different wording, so look to try and compact it as much as you possibly can. So in this way, we find our mistakes, we identify the root cause of them, and we find a solution for them. And then we continually, before every session, remind ourselves not to make that mistake again and what we're going to do differently in the next time. And this is so powerful because it stops us from making those same continual mistakes. And that is the power. This is the true power of the mental warm up, is identifying mistakes and then finding solutions and going over them again and again until in your mind you can't make that mistake anymore. It just doesn't happen. You've retrained your mind. So the next step in the mental warm-up is to go over our goals for the coming week, month, 3 to 6 months, and year. The reason we want to go over our goals is mainly for motivational purposes. If your goals are correct and you're doing your goal setting correctly, all of your goals should excite you. And you're being a little bit excited is actually a good thing going into your session because it'll help you focus. It'll give you an idea of why you're doing all this hard work and giving yourself a headache doing all this review and, working so hard. It's so you can reach that goal, that thing that you really want. Maybe it's moving up to 400 L. Maybe it's becoming a strong winning heads-up player. Whatever it is, it's something that will motivate you. And the second reason we want to go over goals is because we want to make sure that what we're doing today lines up with what our goals are. If your goals are to become the best 6 max player on Stars, and today you're going to play MTTs or play heads-up PLO, maybe you'll want to rethink about that. Am I really working towards my goals? Am I doing what I should be doing? So that's the purpose of it. And if you guys have questions on goal setting, I'll probably do another video on goal setting in the coming months. And the final step of the mental warm-up is to visualize yourself playing your A game and playing your C game. Now, a lot of you guys might think like visualization, it's like new agey, hippie stuff, like this stuff doesn't really work, but a lot of professional athletes use this, and I've used it for a while, and I find it to be very successful in controlling tilt. So when I'm visualizing my A game, what I'll usually think about is I'll close my eyes and I'll just think about what am I usually like when I'm playing my A game. Well, usually I'm just totally focused on the moment. I'm not usually watching videos. The thoughts that are in my mind are only about attaining reads and playing as well as I can. I don't get tilted easily, and I don't really think like a victim. I'm always thinking about what can I do better and just total focus. And so I think about that and I really try to envision and put myself in that mindset, in that A-game mindset. And then from there, I start to switch over to think about my C-game mindset. And C-game mindset is, I choose C-game because it's right in the middle of like our worst games. I mean, we all have a D and F game, but C is a pretty good one because usually we can stop it at C game. So when I'm playing my C game, my mindset changes from focus to starting to feel sorry for myself. And I'll look for reasons why I run bad and think about, kind of have a victim's mentality. I'll stop playing well, I'll stop focusing on what I can control and start trying to think about things that I can't control, and then I'll get angry and frustrated and I'll start to play poorly, and then maybe I'll look for distractions. I'll start watching videos on YouTube as I play, and the next thing you know, I'm not playing well anymore. I'm just autopiloting. So when I do that, I've focused on that, I've visualized it, and now I'm in that C game mindset. Now I'm going to think about shifting my mind back to my A game mindset. I'm shifting back into like total focus, being in the moment, playing as well as I possibly can, and just letting everything else go. So what the visualization has done here is it's allowed you to visualize what you should be doing and also recognize what you should not be doing, so that when you play your session, you'll be like, oh hey, I'm switching over into that C game mindset. I better bring it back to my A game mindset because I want to play as well as I can, because I want to be successful at this game. So the next step is to visualize triggers for tilt and ways to deal with them. So I play a lot of heads up, and when you play heads up, you'll find that you get hit and run an awful lot. At first when I played, this tilted me a lot because it felt like, oh, these guys should keep playing, like how am I going to win if these guys keep leaving? And it would really frustrate and tilt me. But what I try and think about now is I'll visualize, okay, I'm going to get hit and run, and that's okay. The players who are hit and running me um, are not really breaking any rules. It's not against the rules to hit and run. And sometimes I'm going to hit and run people, and sometimes people are going to hit and run me. So I visualize that, and then when I do get hit and run, all I have to do is tell myself that, and I'm not tilted. Um, Another example might be taking a series of bad beats. I can take pretty much any beat on its own, but when I take a lot of beats, yeah, I can get a little tilted. But what I remember and what I visualize is that these bad beats in the short run don't really matter because poker is just one endless session. And if I continue to play well and focus on what I can control, then it's going to be okay. It's okay for me to lose. It's okay for me to take a bad beat and lose. There's nothing wrong with it. And in the long run, if I continue to play well, I'm going to win. And so I kind of visualize that, and when I take multiple bad beats, that's what I tell myself. I tell myself it's okay. It's just one long session, and it's as long as I'm making the right decisions, that's all that matters. So that's it, guys. I hope I've explained it pretty well and you guys understand it. If you don't, or you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment on this post, or if you're watching this in a thread, be sure to send me a PM. And I'd just like to also say that, you know, starting out, this might be a little bit hard, and continuing to do it will be even harder. But I want you guys to do the work, because if you do the work, if you continually do this review, there is no doubt in my mind that you will reach the goals that you want to. You are in total control of where your career goes and how successful you are, and it's based on how much work you put in. So please continue to do the work, and you will do fine. I have no doubt about it. Okay, take it easy.